Hello, everyone. Welcome to Staying Safe on Dating Apps. My name is Oleg Kagan. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for LA County Library. Now, this is an interesting topic that we're covering today. To prepare folks for Valentine's Day, staying safe on dating apps. And it'll be presented by Martin Malelu and Adriana Albizuras, who are MakeMo librarians with LA County Library. MakeMo stands for Makermobile. Adriana and Martin drive Makermobile vans all across LA County doing science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, STEAM programs for people ages 0 through 99 and up. So it makes sense that they're here to present to you about the digital literacy topic of staying safe on dating apps. And so, Adriana, Martin, I welcome you to our virtual stage to present on this important and pertinent topic. Let me switch the presenter view over and get started.
Thank you. Oh, I'm actually going to present
You're
for,
gonna run the PowerPoint? Sounds
yeah,
great.
just for the
All
first
right.
bit. And then we're going to switch out.
Makes sense. All right. You should have the presenter
Thank
privilege
you.
now.
All right. So can you see it? Are we good?
There it goes. Yeah. Perfect.
Sick. All right. So we're going to talk about staying safe while online dating. And we're going to cover kind of just how to stay safe while you're talking to people online. So as a disclaimer, this way so I can see what I'm reading. So as a disclaimer, this is for educational purposes. We cannot guarantee your safety in the complex online environment, but we will have some resources at the end. So if you or someone you know is a victim, there are some resources at the end that can help you try to resolve your situation. But again, we cannot guarantee safety. These are just kind of guidelines for how to stay safe in an online world. So online dating apps and social media, they can be a great way to meet new people. It can be great to get to know someone through text, emails, and phone calls and video chats, all before you have to meet in real life, especially right now. I think that meeting people online is great, and it's nice to be able to talk to someone before you decide you want to venture out into the world and meet them in real life. But unfortunately, there are some dishonest imposters trying to take advantage of people looking for genuine connection. They can steal your information and money, and they can manipulate your feelings, and all while pretending to be someone genuine who cares about you and is interested in you. So we're going to talk about ways that you can learn how to recognize and avoid online dating scams. You can create a profile that is safe to prevent these scams from happening to you, or help prevent, rather, prevent them from happening to you. And then we're going to talk about what to do if you are a victim of an online dating scam. So there are a bunch of different apps and services that can leave you susceptible to online dating scams and scams in general. So we have like dating apps like Tinder and OkCupid and Match.com. Those are just three examples of all of the dating apps. I don't even know how many are out there, but there's a ton of different dating apps that you can go on. There's social media, so you're not limited to just dating apps. Some people might reach out to you with romantic intent on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or any social media. It is definitely not limited to dating apps, or even games like Words with Friends. You can play games with strangers on Words with Friends, and they can chat with you. So pretty much any app or service that you use that's online that allows you to talk to people that you don't know in real life or don't know personally kind of leaves you susceptible to any of these types of scam. So let's talk about how to create a safe profile. So before you even start talking to people, you're going to want to make sure that you are presenting information in a way that keeps you safe, and you're not presenting the wrong information or information that allows people to come find you wherever you work or live. So consider what information you're sharing. You don't want to share where you work, where you live, excuse me, or any personally identifying information. So while you do, if you're like online dating, you will want to have like a general location, right? Because you're not trying to date someone very far away. You don't necessarily want people to know exactly where you live or even be able to like walk around your block and figure it out, right? So you kind of want to limit the information you're sharing there. You might want to like talk about what you do for a living with someone while you are talking to them online, but you don't necessarily have to tell them where you work because you don't want them to be able to find you at work. You want to wait before sharing too much identifying information. You want to make sure that you know that this person is genuine and that they're legit. You also want to check your privacy settings on social media pages. So if you're talking to someone on one of these apps, you don't want them to be able to find you on social media and then find out where you work and where you live just because they were able to find you on Facebook or find you on Instagram and then look at your Instagram and see, oh, this person like lives near this apartment complex or this person like goes to this cafe a lot, so maybe they're there. So you don't want people to be able to find you via your social media. You want to be selective about your photos. Again, you don't want to like take a picture like next to a sign of a coffee shop that you go to all the time, right? Because then that person might go and try to find you at that coffee shop that you frequent. You want to use photos that aren't on social media. So you want to be able to you don't want people to be able to like reverse image search your photos so that you don't want them to save photos from your dating profile and find them on your social media because then they'll know that that's your social media. And you want to stick to reputable sites. So do a little bit of research on the sites before you sign up for them. Don't just sign up for random stuff because you never know what the intent is behind those sites. So let's talk about the types of scams that there are. And again, I know I'm going, or rather not again, I know I'm going kind of fast. We're going to have a Q&A at the end and we can go over any of this information again. So put your questions in the chat and we will go over them at the end of this presentation. So let's talk about the types of scams. So someone might request money from you. So they may say that they're in the military or they work or live very far away and they need money. And they might need it to travel to see you, or they might need it so that they can book a plane ticket so that you can go see them. They might say, oh, I can't video chat because I don't have a phone. So they might ask you for money so that they can get a phone or a webcam or something like that. They also might ask you for money for inheritance tax. I know that that was like one of the big email scams that was going around for a long time. It might still be going around where people would say, oh, I inherited all of this money, and if you send me so much money, then I'll be able to get it. So just it's generally a good idea to not send strangers you meet on the internet money. They might request explicit photos of you, and then they can use those photos to blackmail you, which is pretty unfortunate. So be wary of sending explicit photos to strangers, or they might also offer to send you explicit photos in exchange for personal information. And you should just not share personal information with strangers on the internet until you know for sure that they are who they say they are. And then there are fake dating sites. So you might think you're signing up for a reputable site or you haven't, or a random site rather. But it's actually a site that's going to steal all your information and you're only talking to people who are going to exploit you. You want to make sure that you're on the right site, that you're signing up for the right things, and that you're not sharing like credit card information or your social security number or your address, or just you want to make sure you're not sharing too much personal information when you're signing up for a dating site. I think this is where Adriana kicks in. So I'm going to stop sharing and give it to Adriana. Oh, so Oleg said that some people are asking what reverse image search is. So reverse image search, so basically somebody can copy the picture that you share with them or copy the picture from your online dating profile and put it into Google and it will search for that image. So they'll be able to find that image on your social media. Yeah, so Google Images does it and TinEye does it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Martin. Hi, everyone. I'm Adriana, and I'll be doing the rest of the presentation. So we talked about the different types of scammers, but we're going to look for signs to spot them. So signs on online dating scammer. Before we do, just a little bit of info that scams usually target single or lonely older adults. So scammers will scam anyone, but they do have a target audience, and that is single lonely older adults. And in the year 2019, there were 20,000 victims with losses over 200 million. So this is a very current crime that's going on, and it's happening to a lot of people. Unfortunately, it wasn't a dating scam, but my father was a victim of online theft. So it is something that happens. So how can you spot them? Usually they can say that they're located far away. So for example, let's say you live here in California and the person who you're talking to lives, it could be as far away from Northern California or that they're in New York. The thing is they're making it inconvenient for you, both of you, to meet each other in person. So that's why it's a sign. Too good to be true. As I said, when your emotions and your feelings are down, um, in something that's good news that feels good, then it's going to make you more likely to believe it. So always remember that if it's too good to be true, it's probably not true. If the relationship is moving way too fast, if they break their promises, for example, let's say you set up a date to do a FaceTime and you set up a date on Friday and they cancel. You make another arrangement for in 2 days and they cancel. They just keep canceling and canceling, saying that, oh, I have a meeting. Oh, I have to go do this. That's usually a sign. Martin talked about how asking for money or gift cards. That's another new thing. As I mentioned, my dad was a victim of online theft, and they were asking him for gift cards. And when my dad was telling me the story, my flags were like, "Oh no, this is not happening," and we quickly put a stop to that. Another thing is a sob story. So if you hear anything about like, oh, my family member died, especially right now with the pandemic happening, it's something that could really happen that a family member had passed away, but you still want to have your guard up. And it's not about, oh, this is not true, this can't be happening, because like like I said, my dad had this incident happen, and I could share it, and it's a sob story, and it's true, but it's all about just having your guard up, just being aware. So it may or may not be true, but it's just about having your guard up. Oh, it's not changing. Oh, there we go. So here we have a chat between two people. And don't worry, this is not a real conversation. This was something I created with myself. I just sent myself text. But this is something that I've seen when I was doing my research, the type of conversations that happened. And a fun fact is that this picture right here is not my dog. This is actually, I asked my friend really quick, like, hey, send me a picture of your dog, and send one where he looked kind of sick. I could easily grab any picture from my friend, from the internet, and just post it. So that's how easy I can create it. So we're going to do a little conversation, and we're going to point out some things, like something about like where it's too far away, too good to be true, or a sob story. The conversation on the right is the victim. and the conversation on the left is the scammer. If what was I going to say? So the left side is the scammer. But if you see anything else in the chat that raises a flag, I want you guys to point it out in the chat, because there are other things that I put in that I didn't point out. So if you guys see anything, go ahead and put it in the chat. So I'm going to do my best to do my acting skills. So here we go. Hey, I'm really glad we changed numbers. Maybe we should FaceTime later today. That would be great. But tonight I'm actually going to see my parents for dinner. Oh, I thought that was on Sundays. I do, but I'm actually staying with them this week. Don't worry, babe. We can still text. So where in LA did you grow up? What street? And we're right here at the arrow on the next text. That's oh, I don't remember what street. I'm really bad with directions. That's okay, babe. That's why I'm here for you. I'll drive us everywhere. Did you have any pets growing up? Oh, you're so sweet. No, actually, we didn't have any pets. What about you? Same here. But now I have a puppy. His name is Max. I actually have to take him to the vet. I think something is wrong with him. Next image, we have our cute little puppy. This pup, poor thing. I hope I can get the money to take him to the vet. Oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this. So this was just a small snippet of a type of conversation that can happen. So I'm just gonna look in the chat and see if you guys pointed out any other red flags. So as I mentioned here at the top, is far away. He mentions that he's not in the area, that even though he had said that he was going to be in the area, he's changing his story. Here at the bottom, he's saying it's too good to be true, because he's saying that he's going to drive us everywhere. Oh, that was the next one. But it's making you feel comforted, even though even though he broke his promise, you're still being comforted, but it's still too good to be true. And of course, we have our sob story with our pup in the end. So let's look at the chat. Yes, getting into security questions. I'm glad you guys pointed that out. Someone else also mentioned pet names, not addressing by real name. I think you mean by babe. Yes, that is a common thing too. So getting into security questions. So have you ever set up a profile, and for your password, they'll ask you security questions like, what is your mother's maiden name? What was the first street you lived on? What was your first pet's name? So even though it sounds like a common question that a suitor will ask you, these are also some signs that they're trying to get your information. So yes, asking for your street name and your pet name. And another one I see that someone pointed out is not addressing the person by their name. So this person kept referring to the victim as babe. Sorry, babe. You know, you can usually let them know, like, hey, you know what? I actually don't like to be called babe. You can call me by my real name. And if they continue to use other things, that could be a sign. So let's see if there's anyone else. So a scammer wants me to disclose my street, where I live, where I grew up. He also wants my pet's name. Yes, these are often security questions so you guys caught them. Good job, guys. Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this little short activity, but this is just a small example of what they can do in order to entice you, in order to trick you. But you guys are doing great. So there's also an understanding with online dating experiences. When you start dating online, whether in person or online, your emotions are going to go up and down. There's going to be moments where you can be talking to more than one person. There's going to be moments where you're just talking to one person, but your emotions are constantly going up and down. So it's always important to ask yourself questions. How am I doing? How am I feeling? What is that I want? What do I want from this experience? So recognize the emotions that you're going through, because as we mentioned before, that is what online online scammers are looking for: people who are vulnerable, people who are lonely. So it's always important to ask yourself these kinds of questions. You're also going to experience different there is going to have different experience with each app. We talked about we mentioned a little bit about match.com, Tinder, um, what was the other one? Coffee Meets Bagel is another one. Each one is going to have a different platform. And so each one is going to have a different experience. Just like social media, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they're all different. So if any of the times that you're not comfortable with any of those platforms, you can always choose to cancel. You have control over your dating experience. So just like social media, if there's a moment where I don't want to talk anymore, I don't want to engage anymore, you can do the same thing with online dating apps. Sometimes there's going to be pressure to move away from the dating platform, like start talking through social media or start talking through your phone number or even in person. But again, I want to remind everybody, you have control over how you use your online dating experience. Just like how you have control over who you want to talk to in person, you have the same control even online. So another important thing to remember is when you, if and when you sign up to any of these online dating services or social media or even the games, understand how to report scammers on the apps. You can go through their settings and or their help us section to see how you can report a scammer if and when it happens. So get used to the platform and understand how to use it and how to block a person or how to report someone. So let's say you've been talking to the person for a while and you are now okay with meeting this person in person, in real life. You can do your own investigation. So, as Martin mentioned before, is that you can put privacy settings on your social media, and you can put safeguards. But there are some people who choose to be a little more public. You can still be your own detective and see if they are if it's a legit person. So you can see if they have a social media, and you can also check an image search. And another thing is that sometimes on their profiles, they will include their social media account name. So I have seen that in profiles where they like say all the things about the profile, but then they also include, oh, here's my Instagram account and here's my social media account. So that's letting me know that they're okay with me looking them up. That does not mean it's still legit, because that can also be a fake profile, but at least you can do your own research. Some platforms also offer video chat. So you don't have to give them their phone number through the app itself. You can do a video chat, or if and when you're comfortable giving them their phone number, you can do a video chat before you meet them in person. If and when you choose to meet in person, make sure it is a public place. So, for example, a coffee shop um, during an appropriate time. So this is a good idea if you do choose to meet in person. You want to make sure there are people around you. Another good tip is having your cell phone charged or a portable charger. Another thing that came into mind just before I did this was making sure you have cell reception. So if you go to, let's say it is a public place, like let's say you go to a hike at a park, but that park doesn't have self-service, but there are people, it's still on the safe side not to do that. You want to make sure you have self-service. And of course, most importantly, you want to let family and friends know your location. I know sometime back when online dating first started, it was a little more, I don't want to say embarrassing, but no one really talked about online dating. But it's now more common. I have so many friends who have met their significant others through online dating. I've used it. So it's something that's a lot more common. So it's okay to let your family and friends know, like, hey, I'm meeting someone. Just to let you know, we're going to be at this location. And let's say you do change locations, make sure you keep them updated where you're at all times. Oops. Of course, we're going to mention our disclaimer one more time. The information presented here is for educational purposes. Following these tips does not guarantee safety in the complex of online environment. If you or you know someone who is a victim, please refer them to the resources towards the end of the presentation. Remember, these are just guidelines. Oh, why isn't it changing? Oh, there we go. But if you are a victim or you know someone who is a victim, here are some resources from the Federal Trade Commission: education materials on identifying fraud, reports help government fight fraud, Federal Bureau of Investigation, anonymous tips and reports, the credit bureaus, and of course, contact your banks, credit card companies, and of course, the police. And here are some resources. These resources will be emailed to you, as well as a link to this video, and it's going to be added to our YouTube channel. But here are some resources for you. What you need to know about romance scams by the FBI, romance scams by AARP, dating safety in the age of technology, and romance scams in 2021. Of course, you can contact us and reference services if you need more information. You can speak to a librarian. You can call your local library. You can also text us at 626-394-4019, Monday through Friday from 12 to 6. And of course, we have our instant librarian chat that's available Monday through Friday from 12 to 6. And all of this information can be found on our website at lacountylibrary.org. And now we are at our Q&A. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We are going to stay on a little bit longer to answer any questions if we can. Of course, if you are interested in future programs, visit our website at lacountylibrary.org. And I encourage everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have amazing videos from in the past, including digital services. We have a playlist for our digital library. Why can't I talk right now? Digital literacy.
I'm going to post a link to the digital literacy playlist into the chat right now. So folks, I just want to see, these are all the events about tech stuff that we've had over the last few months. So email, computer basics, becoming an empowered consumer, all good stuff. We've got some questions over the course of this presentation, which was very, very interesting. This is something that people need to consider, especially now. Online dating really picked up over the last decade. It's like there was like barely anything. Like I remember a friend got married to somebody she met online, and that was like crazy.
Yeah.
But it was, and now it's just like, how else do you date? Like, how do you meet people online?
Yeah.
So let's get to some of these
I was
questions.
watching a few weeks ago You've Got Mail with
Great
Tom
movie.
Hanks and Meg Ryan, and I was like, whoa, that took me back.
Yeah, yeah. So I think you mentioned the story, but let's review. How do you know if someone has a fake account?
So, what I like about Tinder is that they have a verified check mark. So what that
Several of them
does,
do.
huh?
Several of the dating
Oh,
apps do.
yeah,
Yeah.
several of them do. Where it's a check mark. What that does is that it does a live scan of your, like a photograph of your face in order to verify that that's you. So they compare it to your face and a picture that you uploaded onto your profile. So that way you can know for sure that that is a person who you're talking to. Of course, that it could still be a lie because I can make my friend create a profile. It just does more safeguards. You just never know whether or not. So that's why it's good to go through stages of talking to a person. You talk to them through social media. I mean, the dating app or the gaming service. And let's say you do want to move on to social media, you can stay on direct messaging. You don't have to allow them to view your profile still or the content. You can keep it as um, in direct messaging. And then you can also consider doing FaceTiming or a video chat. And that way you can get more comfortable, like, okay, this is better. This seems better. And let's say you're finally are comfortable enough, like, hey, here's my phone number, or you can meet them even before you give them your phone number, but you meet at a location that is public, that where your friends and family know that you're going to meet this person. And so you have control over how you want to meet this person. But yes, at the end of the day, it's up to your own judgment when it's time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's, I think like you said, there's no exact way to know if it's a fake
Mhm.
account, but there are signs. So you mentioned this process of verifying who you are, and somebody mentioned in the chat. I just want to ask this now since it's relevant. What does it mean? You take a photo of yourself in the moment, and then you send the website another photo? How does that work?
So what happens is you upload all these photos of yourself, right? Doing whatever, but then they'll ask for a photo. They'll be like, okay, you need to take a live photo right now of you doing the specific thing. So they'll ask for like a specific pose. So like maybe they want a picture of you like with your hand on your head or something. So you'll have to do like a specific pose, and then they'll compare that photo that you took to the photos that you have uploaded to make sure that you're the same person.
Mhm.
And
That's
I
a
mean,
creative way to check.
that's not necessarily like the like a like a surefire way of verifying, right? Because like again, like Adriana says, like I could have my friend do that, or like I could easily like if I was going to make an account and I knew what verified photo they were looking for, I could like Photoshop that, right? Like I could like I don't know. There's probably ways to skirt it.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's helpful a little bit, but it's not like
Not
the
foolproof.
not yeah.
Another thing that you'll run into is people lying, like it's an old picture. So it could be like an age kind of thing where it's like a picture when they were like 10 years ago, and now it's like it's still the same person, but the images are, I mean, the real person is a lot older. So that's another thing that's common as well, is that they could be lying about their age.
Either way, yeah, they're being dishonest.
Yeah, it's not that it's a red flag, it's just that's a type of a loophole that I've
Yeah,
seen happen.
yeah. So, somebody mentioned a good red flag. I don't know if you guys talked about this, but how about if they ask you to jump off onto another app right away? So they're like, you meet on Tinder, and they're like, let's get on WhatsApp.
Yeah. So that's why I had mentioned that um, where you can do that and you can still keep it as direct messaging. So if like, okay, we can go to Instagram or we can go to Facebook, but I still want to keep it as like where we direct message, because you can still keep your profile um, where they, what's the word?
You don't become friends, you just
You're not
stay on the
friends.
messenger.
You just stay on the messenger because
Mhm.
what you'll see often is like I don't really check my online profile that much. I'm not on this thing that much. Like, can we just talk on Instagram? Can you just give me your phone number? Because I don't check it. And you're like, okay, fine, we can talk on Instagram, but only on direct messaging. I'm not going to add you as a friend. So remember, you have control over how you want to talk to individuals.
Yeah, you gotta set your own boundaries the way that you're comfortable. So here's a good question. I've had people on eHarmony immediately ask for my phone number and email. Can they find my location through a cell phone number and email address?
For your phone number, yeah. If you Google someone's phone number, sometimes it comes up with like current addresses or old addresses of places you might have lived,
Mm-hmm.
or just addresses associated with your phone number. So that can be risky, which is, I think Adriana was like kind of suggesting, oh, you might want to try like Instagram DMs or
Mhm.
just like not a phone number that you've had for your entire life, might be a better option for communicating.
Yeah, the challenge these days is that a lot of people's information, like people's address, is not as personal and private as we think. I mean, we even have a database in the library where there are people's addresses on there. Um, so it's a tough thing. So let's see. Well, actually, this question fits right in here. While not revealing too much info before meeting in person, what do you think about using a pseudonym online and only revealing my true name after meeting in person and I feel safe?
Um, so like if there's a nick like my name's Adriana, I'll tell people, oh, my name's Audrey. So it's just shorter. But I also like I don't really like using my full name either, so I'll just shorten it to Audrey. And that's up to you, your discretion. Um, you can also let them know like, oh, I'm trying this out. Like this is my first time doing this. Like I want to take things easy. So I'll reveal more like as we get more comfortable. And again, if they're not into that, that's fine. They can go.
Swipe
Yeah,
left.
yeah. It happens a lot of times where I tell them like, I'm really like, they'll ask me, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I just want to talk. I just want to have a conversation. And they're like, well, I'm not into that. And I'm like, okay, fine, fine. So you have control over who you talk to, but yes, like Oleg said, you have your boundaries and you can put them there. And if people don't want to talk to you, that's okay. There's someone else who will.
You've got the power. You're the selector.
Hmm. But yeah, you do have a choice of how you want to present yourself too. But also, you don't want to be you don't want to be the scammer either.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So like sometimes people will have like fake names that are like clearly fake names. I'm like, this isn't even anyone's name, right? And I'm like, this feels like it's a fake profile. So like, why would you waste your time on that? So
yeah.
I think that there's like a fine line, like what you were saying, where you just use like a shortened version of your name, and it still feels like an authentic name.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, because I remember one time, like I just used the last part of my name, Anna, and, and then they were calling me Anna, and I'm like, why are you calling me Anna? And I was like, oh yeah.
Keep your story straight.
Yeah, get my story straight. And I was like, I didn't even think about it because I was just like, because I just used the last part of my name, and I'm like, I thought I was being creative, and then I realized, wait, why is he calling me Anna?
Yeah, if you use a nickname online that you just invented, make sure
And I was
that
like,
you remember that that's what you want people to call you.
yeah. So I just stick to Audrey.
So you guys mentioned there was a question, and actually somebody brought up about the security questions, but you guys already talked about that. So yeah, common security questions: street you grew up on, pet's name. And if people, be aware that sometimes people will want to incorporate that into conversation in order to kind of socially engineer hacking your email accounts.
Yeah.
So when is it okay to give your last name or even your real first name?
That's always up to your discretion. That's what's the word I'm looking for? Just subjective, I guess.
It's subjective, yeah.
Yeah,
It could be
because
okay from the beginning.
because each experience is going to be different, like, and how you feel. So you have to ask yourself these questions, like, do I feel comfortable enough? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Like, because you can do it even after you meet. You don't have to do it before you meet. You can meet the person first. Like, let's say you video chat with this person for a while, and they're like, okay, we video chat. I think I want to meet you, and that person agrees to meet you too, and it goes well, and you keep going, and I'm like, all right, I think I'm fine. But it's all up to you and how you feel. Maybe you guys both have had this conversation, or maybe even that other person is comfortable sharing more with you. So that's a conversation to have with yourself, with the person you're talking to.
Yeah, the fact that video chat is so much more common these days is
Yeah.
a real boon to safety in online dating because from the scams that I've seen, like people I've known have gone through the kind of emotional turmoil of speaking to somebody and getting close to that person. And then every time they ask to video chat with that person's like, no, I'm busy. They come up with some sort of excuse
Mm-hmm.
because it ends up that person's not real. It's actually like two or three people, and they're running this scam with a whole bunch of, with talking to a whole bunch of people trying to get them on the hook and trying to do the money for the pet or travel or whatever. But they're
Mm-hmm.
actually, the images they're using are totally fake. They're stolen from somebody's social media account, and they can't do video chat with you because that person is not them.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. So we mentioned a weird. There was another question about can somebody be tracked through a phone or a phone? Can you find somebody's location through their phone? Um, I think we've already covered that. So I mean, like an area code will give you the kind of general vicinity. Um, although I don't think most
But
people. Yeah,
I mean, area codes are, I mean, my area code is not from California, right? I'm not from California, so I think area, and like people use Google Voice too, which
yeah,
gives
it's
you, you
true.
can
Yeah,
randomly
it's
generate an area code.
not a reliable way
Yeah.
to tell somebody's location. So, I mean, people, I mean, theoretically can be tracked over the phone. Most people don't have the technology to hack somebody's phone to track them through their phone. So, probably not. I mean, but it's possible theoretically, but it probably won't happen on a dating site. What are the most reputable sites? What is the difference? I don't think we can talk about most reputable sites because we're not going to make recommendations here. I mean, what we could talk about like what is the difference between different sites? I don't know if you guys have insight on that or can give a general overview.
Of dating apps.
Yeah, like what's the difference between different sites? Like what kind of sites are there?
So like Tinder is more of a swipe. Like you have to match in order to see each other. Like in order to have a conversation. I mean, you can look at their profile, but in order for you to message that person, both of you have to match in order for that to happen. So even if there's a person I'm interested in and I swipe right, yeah. If I swipe right and I'm interested and that person doesn't match with me, I can't connect with that person like a direct message with them. So that's how Tinder works. I
I think that's how
pretty
most of them work. I think you have to both match with each other. I think you can't just talk to anyone.
well, like okay Cupid, I think you can
You
talk to.
can?
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
You can like message them, and so that's why I didn't like that one. I was like, Hinge works very similar to that. You can write a message to them because, like, if you match them, you can send a little like, "Hey, I like that picture" or something like that. So there's a little more chat opportunity with Hinge. Um, those are the only three that I used.
Hmm.
I don't remember Coffee Meets
I know
Bagel
on
or
what
Bumble.
other ones
Yeah,
are
you
there?
do have to match.
Yeah,
Most of
on
them
Bumble
are
you have to both match. You have to match with
okay.
each other. And then there's a text-based one that you can just message anyone on
Yeah.
too. So it just kind of all depends.
Yeah, it's always whenever you're interested in a dating service with any social media, look at how their platform is and has their layout. So even with Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, there are some things I like about Instagram. There are some things I don't like about TikTok. There are some things I don't like about Facebook. And like for example, Facebook, you have to have their messenger in order to like chat with someone. I don't like that. I hate that I have to download a separate app. So with any app that you download, it's always good idea to explore how their platform is laid out, not just the sort of like dating services or social media, any app that you're going to download. See if there's something that you like, if it's a good layout. I just downloaded this new, thank you, Oleg, for offering it. It's called Notion. It's how to do note taking, you know.
Productivity app, yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually a future program. But I downloaded the app and I was like, this is amazing app. I have access to all my notes and I love the layout. It's easy to like type in. So even before I really dived into the software, I explored the app. I explored how the web-based program is used. So even before I started typing, I did my research. So with anything that you download, anything that you're going to use, always check reviews, what other people have said about it. You do this with restaurants, you do this with any businesses, Yelp. So you can do the same thing with apps and services.
How do you identify a fake website, like a fake dating site?
So you'll want to uh, probably do some research on it. Try Googling the name of it, see what comes up about it, see what other people's experiences with it are. If it asks you for a lot of like personal information, like credit card information or like right away. So like a lot of these apps you can like upgrade your subscription, right? To have like more swipes or like be able to see who likes you and all that. But if it's like immediately asking you for payment, I would think that that's a little bit suspicious. If it's asking you for like social security number or like your actual address.
Mhm.
It shouldn't need that information. If it seemingly isn't asking you for enough information, that might also be a red flag because
Yeah.
you're on there trying to meet people. So if it's like, if it just seems too vague and like just like there's not enough information, that might be a problem too. But yeah, so you probably just want to do some vetting of your own and just do a Google, see what other people's experiences are. Usually, if it's a scam, people will be like, this website is a scam. Like, it'll come up on Google where people are like, this isn't legit. Or if you can't find any information about it, that's also a red flag.
Hmm.
Um, if
Yeah, go
nobody
through the
seems to be using
reviews.
it.
Go through the reviews.
Yeah, look at reviews.
And yeah.
Yeah. And there are review sites that will come up on Google that will tell you whether a site is will have reviews and will kind of tell you whether a site is real or fake. I mean, it's not foolproof, but it's one way to know. Arnold brought up Trust Advisor and WOT or Web of Trust. I haven't heard of those. I need to write those down because those might be useful. We want to share that kind of stuff with people in the future. It's good that you brought up you brought up Googling, um, because you can Google a site, but also think about it when people are chatting with you online and you have your name in your profile. The first thing people are going to do is they're going to Google you. And so if you haven't Googled yourself in a while and you don't know what comes up on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth page of, Googling your name, I recommend you do that because you might get creeped out by what people know about you, but actually sometimes that stuff just comes up right on Google. So, with some people, you type in their name and it'll say like so and so name, age, 70, uh, female, and that lives in this area. You click on that website, there's like these directory sites. You click on that site, and it'll be like, here's husband's name, wife's name, whatever, sister, brother, uncle. have your whole family listed there, and it's just the first click on Google. So that kind of stuff is it's kind of creepy, but it's right there. So let me see if I have another question here. Does paying the site really get you better people on dating sites?
I don't know that it gets you better people. I don't know like what like I think better is like a
That
subjective
was that was
term.
that was my thought on
That's
that question.
that's kind of
Uh,
subjective, but what they do is opens other opportunities. Like it provides
right.
you with more tools within the app. So, but just like I don't know, what's a good example? I'm trying to think.
Like, so if you, some of the dating sites, you're only allowed to swipe right on a certain number of people every day. So if you pay like their service fee or whatever, their monthly fee, you might get to have unlimited right swipes on any day.
So it's just through sheer quantity you might get better people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't,
I'm not sure.
I
I'm not
think
sure if
you're
you do
probably
get
seeing
better
the same
people.
thing.
But it's
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
probably the same
kind of
people.
like playing the lottery. You only need one ticket.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to know. I mean, there's so many people on dating sites, even the pay sites, that I don't know. The idea is that if somebody is will pay for it, that means that they kind of screens out ideally screens out people who aren't committed enough or don't want to or can't afford it or so I don't know something. I don't know how much dating sites cost these days, but on the other hand, if there's still, millions of users, no, it's still a crapshoot. There's still a whole bunch of people there.
And I think when you pay, so if I paid for a dating service, I would still see people who have not paid as well as people who have paid. So I
Mm.
don't think it doesn't tell you who's paid and who's not paid.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah,
think
there
that
might be
that.
sites where you have to pay to get on, but yeah, like you said, a lot of the sites will have multiple tiers of service starting with free. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was I gonna say? Like with Hinge, like because I saw someone say something about you can't see someone's picture. I know like with Hinge, it'll tell you like, oh, these five people liked your profile, but if you pay for it, you can see who it was. So it's
Right.
that kind of thing. So it doesn't even mean that it might be someone who you match with. It's just things to entice you. So yeah,
mhm.
it just
So
opens up other opportunities. But more, not, I don't want to say more opportunities, but it just does a little bit more, but you can still get a lot done with just a free service.
yeah, so this is a really good question that you just posted, Adriana. Came in from one of our folks in the audience. What should I do if a person already has too much information about me? How do you prevent identity theft in that situation?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I would refer to our
The resources.
resources. Remember, those are going to be sent out in an email. So if you want to go back and view them, as I mentioned, unfortunately, I know someone who was a victim, but we quickly went to law enforcement and we seeked advice on what to do. We changed credit cards, we changed passwords. So we did everything we had to do in order for to make put a stop to it. So yeah,
Yeah, and one
And what
other. Go ahead, Martin.
if anything weird starts happening, you want to make sure you document it,
yeah,
just so you have
document.
so you
Mhm.
know what's
Yeah.
happening and that you have the right information to report later.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the credit bureaus, you listed the three credit bureaus on the slide with the resources. And so one other thing that you could do is monitor your credit through those bureaus. So there are free ways to do that. I mean, you can go to annualcreditreport.com and do it once a year for free. But there is also Experian, I happen to know, also has a free account here, so you can go and you can monitor your credit there. So if something comes up that looks weird, you can jump on it right away and report it and get it taken care of. Because that's one of the signs of it. If somebody starts opening accounts in your name, it'll come up in your credit history, and then you have to squash it. I mean, you have to get it because the longer it's there, the more risk there is that people are going to do weird stuff with it.
that was a
Let me
good
see if we
question.
have. Wait a minute, that's a great question.
Mhm.
Let me see if we have any other questions. So we're talking, there's a few questions around about spotting fake profiles. And so somebody mentioned, what if people give one-word answers and no answer is at all on their profiles? Does that mean that it's a fake profile?
No, not necessarily. I think that some people are just very bad at making profiles, or they don't take the time to make thorough profiles. So I think that one word answers aren't necessarily a sign of it not being, or it being a scam or it being fraudulent. It's just, uh, I think you're not really going to know for absolute sure if something is a scam until you start talking to someone.
Hmm.
Um, I mean,
Always on
yeah,
the side of caution.
right.
Mhm.
And yeah, I would definitely speak cautiously with anyone you're going to speak with, and are on the side of caution. You can go into it assuming that it's uh, a tricky situation to navigate, and just try to use your best judgment.
Mhm.
I guess the other question is if they don't have a lot of answers on their profile, do you really want to talk to a person who didn't put any time into their profile, even
Right,
if their pictures are hot?
right.
But it's like I'm not a creative person, so my bio was just like, just ask me. Because I'm like, I don't know what to write. I don't know how to write about myself. But I was comfortable enough that where if they wanted to ask me something, I was comfortable enough to be vague enough to like talk like text. But I just was not a creative person. I'm like, I don't know how to write. So yeah, I mean it's always good to just ask questions like, hey, because they'll post a profile like, oh, I see you went to this place. Like, how was that place? And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
A
So,
conversation.
yeah, you're
Right.
having that conversation. So, yeah, it's always different with each person. It's not about not talking to anyone, but it's just like easing your way in. Just like when you enter the ocean, you don't just jump in. You know, you got to get the feel of the waters and stuff. Yeah.
One of our folks in the chat mentioned that in terms of the credit bureaus, you can put a freeze on your credit if you are scared at the moment. If you think that there's some risk, you can put a freeze, and then you can unfreeze it if you want to sign up for a credit card or something in the future.
Yeah.
Check if there are any other questions that we can bring up. I think. Does anybody out there have any other questions? We do have a little bit of time. We can stick around for a few more minutes. We can do one or two more questions. We're through with the backlog of questions, so we've got a little time. If you have something that you want to know about dating apps, staying safe on dating apps, online dating safety, and we can cover that now. Otherwise, if not, then I'll talk about the programs we have coming up in the next couple of weeks. Uh, oh, oh, I see. So Adriana, there's a question in the chat for you. So when you said the person you helped and went to the police, did that person willingly give the other person money? The person in the chat said I tried to report, but they said I gave the money willingly.
Oh, no, it never got to that point.
Yeah,
We
I
were
know
able
that
to,
I know.
we were able to put a stop to that.
Yeah, the police isn't always helpful with online scams because sometimes they don't have jurisdiction. Sometimes it's not enough money uh, for them to be concerned. And also often with online scams, that's the case where you're scammed. I mean, you gave the person money, you bought gift cards, and the police can't do anything about it or don't want to do anything about it. We have another one more question that came in just now. I received Facebook friend requests from people who are obvious scammers with fake accounts. I reported it to Facebook, who refused to do anything. Yeah, the best thing to do is just to block that person, just decline
Yeah.
their friend invitation. If you know an account is obviously fake, you can report it to Facebook, but it's a huge company. They've got millions, literally millions of these people popping up with accounts all the time. So I think that they don't have enough resources to really to cover each individual scammer because even one scammer can create, 10, 20, 30, 40 accounts and they do it really fast and do it every day. So it's a bit of a losing battle for Facebook in that sense. So for us individuals, we see a scam, just Just block them out.
Mhm.
We can talk about Craigslist scam.
Oh yeah,
Craigslist
Craigslist.
dating.
Do we go to that place anymore?
I don't think so.
Craigslist, wow, maybe 15 years ago, Craigslist was the place.
When I was trying to rent my first apartment after college, I was trying to rent an apartment through Craigslist, and they were like, "Oh yeah, just meet me at the apartment at this time." I show up, there's no one there. The house is unlocked. I go in this house, there's no one there. It's like for sale. Yeah, it was a scam, but the house was unlocked and open.
Wow.
So I called the realtor and I was like, "You're trying to sell this house, and it's open, and anyone can walk in." So yeah,
Wow.
Craigslist scams, very real.
That was nice of you to call the realtor and let them know.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Comment in the chat. Uh, Folks out there should be weary of opening links. Um, if somebody sends a photo and they said you have to click this link to get the photo, just be aware that that could be a malware link. That link could get you into a place you don't want to go. So most of these dating sites lets you, I mean, they let you post photos. All messaging apps let you post photos right in there. There's no reason that you need to click a link to get to a photo.
Mhm.
So be aware of things like that. That's a good point.
Good one.
Got people out there in the chat being very helpful today, and I appreciate it. So that's it for today. Adriana, Martin, thank you for the presentation. You gave good information. Hopefully, will help people keep people safe when they're getting into the risky but also fun world of online dating. And with that, we'll see you next week. Till then.